Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the Invictus Racing League Tier 1 in partnership with gridfind.com and Venturi Studios. You join us for round number 7 of Tier 1 here at the French Grand Prix. And it's certainly going to be an interesting one. It's a sprint evening, which means one-shot qualifying, sprint race, and the feature. And joining me in the commentary box, myself, JPH, is Bruce Lee Harding. Good evening, Bruce. How are you?
Yeah, good evening, JPH. Good evening, everyone. Yeah, all good. Looking forward, as usual, to this race. And yeah, the one-shot quali for the sprint race. Potential to mix it up a little bit and see if we get some of the more unusual suspects up near the front of the grid.
Yes, absolutely. It's be interesting. Also, we've got 4 reserves in for tonight, which could make things interesting. So we've got Rockley, got Spooked, Lewis Cook, and the debut for this season of Joshua Bashford, who used to be in Tier 1 a few seasons ago. So it'll be interesting to see how he goes tonight on this new game. I think we're just about getting ready to get going around Paul Ricard or Le Castellet, however you want to describe it. But yeah, 3 seconds to go. Well, whoever we're on board with, I think we'll go with that. And we are on board with MDJ. So we cross over the line up towards turns 1 and 2, down towards 5th gear. Don't take too much curb. You've got to be careful. You'll spin through turn 2. Down through towards 3, late braking, diving towards the apex, and then just let the car try and roll through 4 and roll into 5, then pick up as early as you can, taking that wide entry in. 6, just very awkward to try and get on the power. 7, absolutely flat left-hander before going on to the back straight. DRS open. I know the car sounds a bit quiet now. I'll get that sorted before the sprint. But down the back straight towards the chicane, late as you dare on the brakes, clip the curb on the left. Hopefully it doesn't unsettle the car too much, and then again roll it through the chicane in 3rd, up in 4th to get the traction out, and flick left down towards the end of sector 2. Turn 10, absolutely flat as you go through there. Then 11, really interesting corner this. You go dive into it, let it run wide because it tightens on the exit, so you want to open that up as much as you can. Into 12, a very late apex corner and off camber for good measure, so traction always going to be an issue as you go over the crest. Through 13, 14, again many lines through 14, but ultimately you want to be on the left hand side for the last corner of turn 15. Get on the power as early as you can, stay left on the qualifying lap to give you the shortest run to the line, and it's going to be 4th place for MDJ, Mercked on pole position with Emir 2nd. Not too bad, and a few disqualifications.
Yeah, interesting. Obviously, very short qualifying session, but interesting to see at the front how much it was chopping and changing between the guys, especially in the heavy braking zones. The chicane in the midsection, a couple of guys clearly braking later and gaining time there, but then losing it through the chicane as well. So, yeah, it's very, very close, and a number of people, Spooked at one point was up near the front, and he's ended up down in 10th. So, yeah, it's could be an interesting race.
It was interesting. The 3 people to not get a timing was Ghost, Cameron, and Reshka. Obviously, that doesn't mean they've done something bad, got disqualified in the session. Just means the track limits around here, which, as we know, Bruce, are very, very strict.
Yes, they are. It's very easy to pick up. Very easy to pick up penalties around here, so keeping it clean is going to be important. We've seen people. I think we're going to miss the grid readout here, but yeah, we've seen people already this week pick up 3-second penalties within 3 or 4 laps. So I think the record that I've seen so far this week was somewhere around the 21-second mark, I think. So, which is quite substantial and massively race ruining. I'd expect these guys will probably not hit the dizzy heights of 21 seconds, but with how competitive this tier is, every single penalty is going to be vital.
Yeah, absolutely. You definitely don't want to get a penalty in this division. And I don't know if you've managed to get any standings up or available to you, but as we know, the Aston Martin's kind of running away with the championship at the moment. And we're kind of hoping for a fight to start brewing here and maybe bring them back into play.
Yeah, I've got the standings at the moment actually in front of me, funny enough. But yeah, I mean, Emir currently, with a 16-point advantage over Merckx. I know last week Merckx had a few issues with joining. I've got a sneaky feeling he may have ended up having a sort of default setup. I can't remember 100%, but he started towards the back because of the issues he was having. So that sort of didn't really help him at all. But I mean, those two there are fairly clear of Ghost. Ghost is third; he's 20 points behind Merck, so a long way off of Emmy at the moment. Jeremy Clarkson currently fourth, just behind Ghost, and Cameron Searle fifth. I'm assuming Cameron's possibly still on controller as well, so clinging on to that fifth place, but has an 11-point gap on MDJ in sixth.
Yeah, I believe Cameron now on control till the end of the season.
Okay.
At the very earliest, so it's going to be a tough season for him now going forward. But I mean, you got to give credit to him for trying and staying on.
Absolutely, yeah. There's no harm in giving it a go. There'll be some circuits that the controller won't be too bad on, and I'd expect Cam will probably get used to it after a while. But yeah, as far as the constructors' championship goes, Aston clearly leading by quite a margin with their drivers 1 and 2 in the championship. They currently have an 81-point lead over Ferrari, with McLaren in third.
And with that, we have the 5 red lights. And for the sprint race, we are green here at France. And it looks like Merck's got a good getaway. We'll look at the tires in a minute, but it looks like everyone almost on soft compound as we head up towards turn 1 for the first time tonight. And it's looking fairly clean. Almost 3 wide through turn 1. They're still around the outside of Joshua Bashford. It looks like he's going to get that move done as we head down towards turn 3. Good move from him. Still side by side. Looks like that's Alfa Romeo. I've got Spook looking around the outside of Bay, but not quite getting around. Now it's Alfa Romeo, and Alfa Romeo has got a spinner. That looks like Cameron Searle. Don't know if there was contact. It was right in the bottom of our screen. But we have a virtual safety car to kick off this sprint race.
It looked like Cameron lost that on his own. Unfortunately, he tapped the back of the car in front slightly, which I think sort of upset his momentum, and then he just got on the throttle maybe a little bit too soon, and it was enough for him to lose the back end. So yeah, no contact there. A few bits of close racing, but nothing serious towards the back of the pack.
Interesting as well, we have 3 medium runners of Conan, Ghost and Cameron Searle. The rest are on softs. Obviously, those mediums looking for when the softs wear out near the end of this sprint race. And Joshua Bashford has been given a drive-through penalty for speeding under the virtual safety car, and that looks like Cameron Searle's had another incident on the flat right-hander, which is quite interesting to see.
That was actually contact that time with Ghost. I caught the tail end of that. He was down the inside of Ghost, but I'm not really sure exactly how the contact occurred, whether it was Ghost coming across or Cameron sort of understeering into the side of him. But yeah, it was contact that time, which sent Cameron round, and a tough ask for him now from that position in such a short race.
Yeah, it was side by side between Owen and Bashford through turn 14. Cameron Searle has 5 seconds for speeding in the pit lane, and he has retired from the sprint race. I don't know if that might save himself a set of tyres for the feature. Reshko, I'm sure, just letting Ghost pass there as we head on to lap 2 of 9. Obviously this race is going to be a lot shorter than we're used to, but Merckx is leading the way from his teammate of Emir Djurikovic. Emir looking to looking to make a move on Merckx maybe in the next lap or so when DRS gets enabled. Could be an interesting scrap here between the two Astons, because you have to feel on the basis of their constructors lead, there are no team orders in this team. They are surely free to fight for the drivers.
Yeah, absolutely. As you say, they're so clear that they've got a great chance. Owen now looking down the inside of Joshua Bashford. He's already had a look at the chicane down the back straight, and still very nose to tail here. It's going to be very tight. I think Joshua is going to be back up the inside. And big moment for Owen, but yeah, Joshua holds position. Owen did have a look up the inside of the chicane, but the door was firmly closed, and it brought Bay into play. And now this fighting is dropping them off that top 5. I think this is a feature of something we've seen this week, is once guys start fighting and the gaps appear, you tend to end up with pockets of battles. Rather than people closing up to the guys in front, you end up with a battle of 4 cars followed by another battle of 4 or 5 cars. So I think that's exactly what's happening here now, is that really now this isn't a battle for 6th place, and ultimately that's no points in the sprint races, it's only the top 5.
Yeah, only the top 5 in the sprint race score points. And what's been more frustrating for Owen here is that Bashford has... Oh, as we've got a spin, Rock Lee went down the inside of Vesafar Martin. Looks like there's a touch of contact. And round goes the Alfa Romeo. As we see Emir Jurakovic past Mercked. That was not a surprise. But here comes Owen to the inside of Bashford. And it looks like for Bay looking to try and follow him down the inside of the chicane. Turns to the outside, back to the inside. Looks like they've got interlocking wheels. And for Bay, currently still side by side. And this is fantastically close racing. And Bashford gives up the place into turn 10. Probably a wise move.
Yeah, it looked a bit tasty that for a second, didn't it? But luckily all come out unscathed. And again, that's another thing we've seen this week, is the power of the DRS. We've often seen, one person at the front of the DRS train get overtaken by 2 cars. So yeah, I think that's a common theme we're going to see, and is that Joshua in the pits now? So he's obviously received damage there from that.
That's for a drive-through.
Okay, yeah, sorry, I forgot about that one. So, so yeah, short memory. But yeah, that's a shame for Joshua. Obviously, he's clearly got the pace on his return. But yeah, that sort of gives Owen a little bit of breathing space, although Fabay is still on him quite close.
I mean, you get the sense that Owen probably not very happy with Bashford, on the basis that Owen knew he had a drive-through penalty, and he kind of lost time there when Owen could have done without it. But obviously Bashford more than welcome to do that. But here comes Stinos, and it sounds like that was a bit of a close one through turn 7.
I was just watching Owen again. I don't know if it's a desync thing, but he is sliding the car around all over the place. I mean, we've seen it before with Owen. He's gone all a bit Colin McRae, but there's a lot of snaps coming out of the tight corners. But I'm just not sure whether or not it's actually just an illusion on the game, and it's not actually happening to him, because they're quite aggressive snaps he's having. So it'd be interesting to know whether that is the case or not. But yeah, MDJ now third with Stinos in 4th, and Stinos looking to have some good pace here at the moment.
Yeah, absolutely. And we're watching Owen at the moment. Kind of the closest battle we have as we head through turns 14 and into 15. I've made a note on my notes regarding turn 15, as that it is a bit of a surprise overtake opportunity, especially if you catch the person ahead of you napping, trying to take the best line into the corner.
Yeah, absolutely. It's as you say, it's quite a slow.
MDJ just ran a bit wide. Sorry, through turn 2. It's allowed Stinoff right up his chuff going into turn 3.
Yeah, they're getting very close, these guys, and Conan's looking back interested again now, spooked with a 3-second time penalty. But yeah, Conan, this race could come to Conan towards the end if he can just hold on to the tail of MDJ and Stinos. I think the soft will start to tail away maybe around lap 7, so he's a couple more laps, and I think Conan could get involved here. But yeah, that final corner, as you say, a lot of people will take that tighter line through the left to get the best line for the 90 right, but obviously, as you say, you can throw it down the inside and cleanly so as well in order to make that surprise move. It's often best done on the last lap, really. Otherwise, you're a bit of a sitting duck then down the Mistral straight on the next lap. But yeah, I wouldn't be surprised to see a few people chancing their luck, especially towards the tail end of each race.
Yeah, absolutely. Is Stinos still under a little bit of attack from MDJ? The question is, how much do these guys want to fight? Because at the moment they're all getting some bonus points from the sprint. See, top 5. You kind of get the feeling that maybe if they work together, they can make sure that Fabay and Co have no chance of getting at them, and then maybe fight on the last couple of laps. As Schizo Free down the inside of Owen. And I do wonder if Owen's car is a little bit more draggy.
Possibly, yeah. Even with DRS, it's been unusual to see that many moves into that first corner. So, yeah, it seemed fairly easy for Schizo Free, but then maybe Owen's thinking, it's not something he needs to really fight right now. I think Fabey's going to be under attack here, though, potentially from Schizo Free, although he has pulled out nearly 7/10 on Schizo Free, so he probably got enough in the bag there coming down for the chicane.
Oh, big slide from Rockley coming through 6 in his quest to get past Reshka. And that's one of the things with turn 6. You get on the power slightly too early. We have a yellow flag. And I don't know about Fabey, but I don't know whether he just reset the track, because that looked like on the map he was off and then suddenly spawned back on track. If he has, it's a little bit naughty, that, and especially in that place as well, because that's not the ideal place to be having a car suddenly appear in front of you. But Rockley has got past Reshka in the meantime, and the race continues.
Absolutely, and yeah, big gaps there towards the telling field. Fabey's gone very wide now, so he's struggling big time here a little bit, Fabey, and obviously he's dropped massively down now. So, and he's coming into the pit, and he's driven at 3,000 miles an hour, and yeah, unsurprisingly retired. So not a happy bunny, obviously, after whatever's happened there at the chicane.
Meanwhile, the battle for third is still going on. Stinos are in front of MDJ with Conan, who you have to feel is now starting to get into that really nice position here in these last few laps with those mediums. You have to feel like they're going to give him a little bit of an advantage.
Yeah, absolutely. This is what we were saying just a minute ago. He's now, the race will start coming to him towards his last couple of laps, and MDJ pulls out for a move on Stinos. And that's a move done there quite happily, but that's obviously going to help Conan keep closer to the guys in front as well, with these guys overtaking each other. So, yeah, great run so far from these guys, as you say, being sensible, not throwing away any points at the moment. Yeah, comfortable 3-second gap to 6th place at the moment.
Absolutely, Stinos right on the back, and Merck isn't far away from Emma here. If he can maybe pull off the move on that lap, as MDJ has a big twitch coming out of 11. Yeah, if Merck can stick with Emma here, maybe pull a move on that last lap, he's got a chance of winning this sprint race. We have a yellow flag, that says Ashtube. He gets back going again, albeit in 13th place. Meanwhile, we have another one. That is Got Spooked has gone round. Not quite sure.
We're hitting that sort of point here, whether there's contact or not, I don't know, but that point where these softs are starting to struggle a little bit around this circuit, and obviously the cars will start to feel a bit looser. So I don't know if this is a remnants of that or not, or whether there has been a bit of mischief occurring. But yeah, big shame for Got Spooked. He's going all right, and finds himself down in 10th now.
And more with Conan then, we're right behind Stinos. Are we going to look for a move? The problem here is you don't really want to burn your ERS, because ERS is important around France. As everyone just concertinas up under that DRS. I'm going to flick it right. But the problem I think Conan has here is it depends on the ERS battle, because if Stinos has more ERS than him, down that DRS straight it's going to be very, very hard unless Stinos does not have DRS, and it's looking like Stinos is going to be keeping it for the remainder of this race.
Yeah, absolutely. It's yeah, as I say, the ERS is absolutely vital, and I just think for Conan there, he really doesn't want to use it up too much. Oh, he looks for a little move down the inside of Stinos there. That's never going to happen. Very risky bit of driving there, but it comes out of it clean in the end. But yeah, you don't want to waste it all on a lap where you're not going to get past, because then you get to your next lap and you've depleted your ammo almost. So yeah, it'd be interesting to see now who's got what on this last lap. There's a big cut from Conan, and a big moment I think there for him as well. Yeah,
he got really close to the back of Stinos, and I think he took too much curve through 2, and that's going to ruin any chance he's got of getting up into the top 4, I think, because he's going to be outside DRS, I think, because the detection's there on that line. Yes, he's outside DRS. So Stinos has MDJ, I would say, all to himself, but he's down too much as well to make a move.
Yeah, as you say, now this will just come down to who has what ERS potentially coming out of this chicane. Is probably the best chance now is to try and to get past at this point. There's a long enough drag down to the flat right at the end of this, but I don't know if he's going to have enough.
Through the flat right
outside.
This is an interesting move. Oh, and round goes MDJ, and yeah, Bruce there saying he's contact on the entry. I think Stinos maybe just kind of cutting in front of MDJ there, just a little bit, but I'm very sure that the stewards will get a report in on that one. But we go back to the front because it is Emir Durakovic who wins the sprint race from Merckx by 0.2 of a second. The teammates continuing their domination of the season. Stinos in third with Conan in fourth. Schizo3 is in fifth. Owen 6th, MDJ 7th with Martin in 8th. Ghost will be 9th, just ahead of Got Spooked, who's not had a bad debut in this sprint race. Good pace, just a few mistakes. Rock Lee is 11th, make that 10th after penalties. Reshka 12th, Ashtube 13th, and Bashford is in 14th place. And you have to be careful with these equal performance sprint penalties because they don't get added onto your sprint, they get added onto your feature because we can't do, in essence, sprint grid drops.
Yeah, absolutely. So, any misdemeanor, as you say, in the sprint gets carried through to the feature. So, I mean, you can almost count it as being one whole race penalties-wise with the stewards. So, there was, I think, just from the way MDJ's car went round, it was just a slight bit of contact, I think. So it'd be interesting to see what happens with that one, if anything happens at all there. But a big shame really for MDJ, who's driving a great race, obviously in third for such a long time, and ends up out the points in the sprint. Despite what it shows on the screen, he doesn't get any points for the seventh, I'm afraid. So, Schizo3 obviously the beneficiary of that, moving up to fifth place and getting the final point in the sprint.
9 seconds. Emir in first, Merckx second, Stinos third, Conan fourth, Schizo fifth, Owen sixth, MDJ seventh, Martin eighth, Ghost ninth, Rock Lee, Got Spooked, Reshka, Ashtube, Bashford, Forbay, Cameron, Searle will round out the grid.
That was impressive read. I think I'll have to give you less time next time to give you more of a challenge, but good stuff. That it'd be interesting to see what happens in the race. I think, as you say, the two Astons at the front looking strong again tonight. Emir, I did notice earlier he didn't seem too keen on the track, but that's obviously not dampening his pace whatsoever. So, this could be interesting. Obviously, a few people now due to instance in that sprint as well, a bit further down than where you'd expect them to be. I wouldn't be surprised to see MDJ fighting his way back through the field now. So, it should be interesting to see how they take the approach now to the longer race.
Yeah, obviously we, all barring safety cars, obviously one-stop race should be pretty simple here. Obviously, if you have just joined, welcome. Do comment as the race goes on. It's always good to hear what you guys have to say. This is obviously Tier 1 of the Invictus Racing League in partnership with gridfind.com and Venturi Studios. This is round number 7, kind of like the halfway point almost. I kind of classify round 8 as the halfway point in this series because obviously 15 rounds in this season. And as we said before, Aston Martin kind of dominating the season. But 27 laps are between them and another victory for their team. And it's certainly not an easy 27 laps round here with the way the tyres can fall off the cliff.
Yeah, exactly. We've seen this week quite a variety of tyre strats as well. So I think some of us have found the mediums to be a little bit sort of laborious over a longer period of time. So it'd be interesting to see whether anyone fancies the hard tyres over the mediums. I suspect, or I'd expect anyway, to see everyone on a soft at some point. But we're here to be surprised, and you just never really know in motorsport what people will do, what will happen, and how much any potential safety cars might mix things up. I don't think. I don't know about tier 3, but I'm pretty sure we haven't seen a safety car in the other 2 tiers that have run so far this week yet. So it's not easy to get a safety car around the circuit. We've had virtuals, but not full ones yet.
Yeah, obviously virtuals we've seen just in the sprint race there for tier 1. I mean, obviously in terms of overtaking around here, obviously you got turn 1 DRS, turn 3 good run out of 2. Obviously turn 8 on the chicane, and then obviously turn 15 at the end. I mean, and we've seen other corners come into play. Obviously, the other corners you have to say slightly more risky moves, but there is a lot of opportunity at Paul Ricard.
Definitely, and the nature of the corners that there's a couple there towards the end of the lap which open and then tighten as well. So opportunity for different lines into those as well. But as you say, you've got your standard overtaking places. But here we go.
We go 5 red lights, and we are green for the feature race, and it looks like mediums are the choice of tyre. I do see some hards, but we get underway up towards turn 1. Emir Jurakovic on the inside to Merck. He does, and he's going to complete the move into the lead then for now. Out of turn 2, we've got a yellow flag. That's an AlphaTauri. Reshka looks like he's gone round. Schizo free. Side by side with Conan. Down into turn 3 we go, and a virtual safety car has occurred. And they're going to have to sort themselves out. I got a feeling Conan's going to have to give up place to Schizo free. And we're not going to get away with a full green race. Virtual safety car just to calm things down as we head through the first few turns.
Yeah, I think what happened there actually, it was Ghost that spun at the back of the grid there. He was very unlucky. I think what happened there was a slight contact between a Haas and someone. I think it was Martin had slight contact, had a big slide, held it, but due to that everyone sort of checked up behind him, and Ghost kind of just got caught out worse than everyone else, and unfortunately it spun him off to the side. I also saw a little bit of bodywork flying. I'm not sure who it came off of. It may have been the McLaren of Cameron Searle, but yeah, unfortunately not quite a clean getaway. But luckily Ghost has no front wing at all actually, so he's going to have to come in the pit, and that's a really bad start for him to the race.
That could be where the debris come from, although I see a Williams for Bay without an end plate as well as we go back to green flag racing. Merck will lead us off, and Bruce got something interesting there.
So yeah, as they went green, Ashtube had a massive wobble in the middle of the track, and Fabay had to go around the outside, and there's more front wings flying around everywhere at the moment on my screen. I'm not quite sure what's going on there, but and that's Fabay is out of the session now.
Very early to call it a day, but obviously I'm not him. Side by side, Cameron and Ashtube. Ashtube doesn't pull off the move. Don't know, possibly because of those yellow flags. I don't know how far they went up the straight. But it looks like the and Ashtube getting really close. Oh, a little bit of wheel spin for Cameron as we go into turn number 5 and 6. He goes wide, almost loses the rear end. That's going to give Ashtube the run he wants down the Mistral straight. There he goes. And the Red Bull up into 12th place. Bashford side by side with Spooks, a little bit close. Spooks has to ends up going off track, cuts the corner, and Martin will take the place as well. He won't say no to an open door. But we did have 4 runners start on the hards, as now Reshka gets past Cameron. Cameron now down to 14th. We did have 4 runners on the hards, which were MDJ, Rockley, Ghost and Fabay. Obviously Fabay now out, and Ghost has had to pit for a new front wing. So we just have MDJ and Rockley on the hard tyre.
Absolutely, and at the moment, MDJ is currently, and obviously Rockley as well being right behind him, they're currently sticking in with the pack, no problem at all. Excuse me, at the moment. And this is the thing with the hard tyres. If they can keep with the pack now, especially with DRS about to be enabled, if they can stick with the pack on these hard tyres, this race will come to them towards the end of the race when their tyre wear will be far better and their pace will be far better than the medium runners. So it's not a bad tyre to be on the hard, but I think it's absolutely vital you sort of stick with the pack for as long as you possibly can.
Yeah, and if you can stick with him through the DRS period, as obviously now that we're in that, that's even better because obviously it just makes it easier to stay close as Cameron still picks up 3 seconds for track limits. Joshua Bashford on the back of Rock Lee. He's going to be looking for a move into the chicane potentially. He'll look to the inside, thinks better of it for now. Not quite got the speed differential he needs. Reshka around the outside, loses the rear end, I think, a little bit. I don't know whether that's the game desync. Oh, he loses the rear. I think possibly a tap by Cameron there through the second part of the chicane, and Cameron lets him go. Wise driving from the McLaren.
Yeah, I think Cameron just sort of found himself in an awkward place there. There's no malice in that at all. I think it's just because of the slide maybe Reska had. Cameron found himself in an awkward position with the 2 cars in front. But yeah, a massive gap now from Ashtube to Got Spooked, and everyone. We got an 11-car DRS train at the moment. As far as the race goes for Ashtube, I think it's going to be a very, very difficult unless there's a safety car now, even at this early stage, because the guys in front, unless they start fighting really hard, they're just going to pull away from him now once the DRS gets activated.
Yeah, it's going to be difficult if you're not in this train. I'm still watching Bashford as we go through 3, 4 and into 5. The problem with this DRS train is obviously it makes it so much harder to make a move. Even if you're quicker than the guy ahead. I mean, look at Joshua Bashford, he's going to be quicker through the corners because he's on softer tyres. Emir Djurakovic, however, taking advantage of the DRS, and he's going to go into the lead, just like the sprint race. Almost like the second lap of DRS usage this time around for Emir, but he is through. And you get the sense that the Astons are going to try and work together a little bit, play a bit of leapfrog, get away from Stinos, and then be able to run their own races. As Owen down the inside. Sorry, Bruce. Owen down the inside through 10 into 11. Conan goes well wide through 11, and Owen picks up a spot into the top 5.
Yeah, interesting move there. Obviously pulled it off. Conan giving plenty of space to say the least. But yeah, Emir and Merckx have done this already this season. They've managed to break away from the guys in front. Stinos is clinging on. He's holding on, and the DRS is going to keep him close to him as well now. It's very borderline right now, but he's still in there, Stinos, at the moment. But yeah, they've done this before earlier on the season. It looks like Rockley and Joshua swapping places. Yeah,
I think Rockley has fell out of the DRS train. You see Joshua Bashford now 1.4 behind MDJ, so he's going to want to try and get that gap closed up as soon as possible. Back to the front, Merckx 4/10 away from his teammate as we head down the Mistral Straight. There goes the letterbox in the rear wing, and is Merckx going to go for it? Yes, he is, to the inside. And easy move, almost coordinated between these two, making Stinos' life very hard to try and keep up with them, and it's going to make it even harder when he's not got any DRS and Skizu does.
Yeah, it is. Look, Stinos is still clinging on, but it keeps creeping up by a couple of tenths each lap. That difference at around about this point on the circuit. You'd have to think. I don't know whether he's burning ERS to try and keep up with them, Stinos, or not. I think maybe this is his only chance, is to try and stick with him for as long as he possibly can. But yeah, as you say, he got it down to 7 tenths here, so he's still going to be in DRS. So this is a valiant effort here from Stinos at the moment, and keeping this race alive for himself at the moment.
Martin did just have a little bit of a wiggle, and Karen Stroll's going slow. Reshka as well. I think they've had a bit of a coming together.
I think, yeah, Cameron may have...
Owen and Conan, going side by side through 1 and 2. I think there was a touch of contact. Owen keeps his 5th place for now. I don't know if that was actually Owen getting close racing anyway. And unfortunately, Cameron Sorrell has now retired from this race, which is a big shame.
Yeah, I think there was slight contact between him and Reska. Reska was facing the wrong way, so Cameron was waiting for Reska to get going again, but obviously it didn't really matter anyway, because Cameron came into the pit. So yeah, finding it tough going tonight, Cameron on the pad, but there we go. We got a double move going on here with Martin, Joshua, and Rock Lee.
Yeah, I just saw one as well with Owen, Conan, and MDJ. Conan got past Owen, MDJ done the pair. So good racing all around at the moment. Obviously, that means we're now starting to get into these smaller packs with DRS, and obviously it's not ideal for these guys on the mediums to be fighting with guys on the hards, but that is racing, unfortunately, for them.
No, absolutely. I think Emir snuck back past Merckx again there into the flat right-hander at the end of the Mistral, so yeah, still doing coordinated overtaking moves at the moment. But again, Stinos is still hanging on, and Schizophrenic as well. Let's not forget he's there. This gaggle of 4 cars at the front having a great job. MDJ also doing fantastic here in 5th place. He could be under attack from Conan, but holds on to it for now. But yeah, MDJ on the hard tyres, this is, as I say, holding him in good stead for later on in the race. He just really, in an ideal world, would need to try and break this gap between him and Conan so he can just concentrate on ploughing on ahead rather than looking in his mirrors. But I think that's going to be very much wishful thinking for MDJ.
Yeah, Conan in striking distance with the DRS. Owen, I wouldn't say in striking distance, obviously we'll get DRS, but there goes Conan, should be a fairly simple move. Meanwhile, further back, Rock Lee is going to get overtaken by Bashford. Simple move there as well. And you have to think that if Joshua Bashford can just start to peel away in this third sector where he's going to have that small grip advantage, so that advantage getting less and less every lap as Spooks down the inside of Rock Lee. Now, they're both driving Alfa Romeos, but they're technically not teammates because they're both reserves at the moment. So definitely no team orders going on there, and Rock Lee gets overtaken by Spooks, and now Rock Lee under attack from Martin, who gives him a little bit of a friendly nudge through 12, and Spooks getting a 3-second time penalty for track limits.
Yeah, Spooks there celebrating with that 3-second penalty. Looks like Ghost has gone round again, so it's a disaster for Ghost. He had such a strong race last week, didn't he, in Spa, but tonight has just gone horribly wrong for him, and we know what Ghost is like. I wouldn't be surprised if he just keeps ploughing on ahead and hoping for a safety car or something. But yeah, a difference a week makes. He's had a fantastic race, as I say, last week in Spa, but this week's just turned into a bit of a horror show for him, unfortunately.
Yeah, and I know. I mean, it may be shown this is maybe the weak circuit of Ghost for the season almost, which is a bit of an unusual thing to say. But I think back on F1 22, he wasn't. Back in his dominant year of season 15, he wasn't really as quick as you'd think around France comparatively to elsewhere, as MDJ picks up 5th place once again. They're 2 seconds behind Schizo, who is now behind Stinos. Stinos now 3 seconds, that's quietly gone up as we've been watching other battles, but yeah, Stinos now 3 seconds behind the Aston Martins. That's a lot of time.
Yeah, I get the feeling that once it got outside that 1 second mark, that was it really. The Astons just stretched their legs now, and yeah, Stinos now under threat from Schizophrenic, and MDJ is slowly catching the pair of them as well. So I think MDJ at the moment, obviously he had a bit of a disaster on that final lap of the sprint race, but at the moment he's definitely sticking himself in contention for a podium here with this hard tyre strategy.
Yeah, I do wonder if maybe Schizo and Stinos, as we're seeing now, we're battling for this position, and Schizophrenic will make the move into turn number 1. Good move from him. Got spooked, gets past Bashford into 1 as well. So turn 1 becoming a bit of a prominent overtaking spot for tier 1. But yeah, it does make you wonder if Stinos and Schizo have been fighting a little bit, and that's why they've lost that time. If Stinos now picks up 3 seconds, that's not going to be helpful this early on in the race.
Yeah, absolutely, and I think that this battling now with Stinos, obviously we forget, or we don't forget, we can see, but Conan and Owen are obviously right behind MDJ currently as well, albeit on the medium tyres compared to his hards. This is going to be a 5-car battle for a podium very, very shortly, I think, as Joshua Bashford, I think, gets past Spooked again.
Yeah, standard DRS overtake. I would show you the Aston Martins. They are very, very close at the front, but you just get the feeling that Merck's now starting to bide his time behind his teammate and waiting for the right opportunity to present himself. Either that, or he's going to stay behind, and maybe he's underfueled the car, so he needs a bit of fuel saving behind his teammate. Who knows? You never really know what the Aston Martins are up to, other than normally they're at the front if they have a clean race.
Yeah, it's looking pretty rosy for the Racing Green team right now, isn't it? So, yeah, unless something drastic happens, you'd have to say they're looking at a 1-2. We don't know which order that's going to be, obviously, but obviously Merck will want to try and get some points back on Emir after last week's issues. So, yeah, it's going to be a thrilling fight at the front towards the end, I'm actually sure. But as you say, I suspect them to relatively hold station for the next sort of 5, 6, 7 or 8 laps. So yeah, I think the battle really is going to be third place onwards here at the moment.
That is the battle we're showing you on the screen. SFR Martin gets past Got Spooked. That's interesting placing. I think Got Spooked's gonna... I don't quite know what's going on there. It looked like Spooked had to give the place back to Martin, and possibly Martin had to give back the place again. Meanwhile, Stinos is through on Schizo Free for third place, and you see what that's done to the gap. MDJ right on the back of them. Martin has now got Spooked with the DRS down the Mistral straight, so that's all resolved itself quite nicely.
Yeah, absolutely. I think MDJ is looking at this thinking, thank you very much. As long as he can keep this clean with these guys, there's no pressure for him to really go for any heavy moves at the moment. Obviously, he'll want to get a pass if he can do so on a simple move, but at the moment this will be a case of unless it's kind of half-handed to him on the plate, I think he'll just hold station. Without with the DRS, it'll be a simple move, but I don't think we'll be seeing him thrown at any inside, because strategically at the moment I think he's in an excellent position.
Absolutely, I'm pretty sure I just saw the map. Got Spooked. Got past Martin through turn 10. It's becoming a bit of a overtaking hotspot for tier 1, which is unusual, being that it's just a flat right-hander. Rockley in the pits. I don't know if that's for damage or not.
They are, they are changing the front wing at the moment, so a bit of a shame for him. Onto the mediums. 17 laps on mediums are going to be screaming a bit at the end, but I think it's doable for him to go to the end of the race. But obviously with that time loss, that's dropped him right down to the back now. This is going to be a difficult one to come back from as well, again now at this point, because he's not going to be in the gaggle of cars anymore.
As we see, Stinos gets past Schizo. MDJ tried it in the chicane, it didn't quite work. And I do start to wonder, the more these guys fight, I'm looking at Joshua Bashford 5 seconds away. I mean, not gaining any time at the moment, but you just wonder if they keep fighting whether that gap's going to start to come down and we might get a 6th car in this train.
Potentially, although he's now dropped down to 5.4, so I'm not sure what's happening there. Conan had a sneaky little look, and Emir gets a 3-second penalty, so this could change things massively. This could now be a case of Emir trying to disappear up the road as quickly as he can to gap Merck. But yeah, that could change that. It's not the first time this season we've seen Emir, I think, with a penalty and putting himself in a slightly awkward position.
It's definitely not the first time. So it's kind of advantaged Merck now in the battle of the Aston Martins. Lawrence Stroll probably just sat in his chair, loving life at the moment with his team. But for the battle for third, Stinos has managed to gap Schizo. Schizo's also got a penalty now of 3 seconds. At least I believe it's 3 seconds. Yes, it is. Martin gets past Spooked down into turn 3. But yes, Stinos has just managed to gap Schizo. I'm trying to work out whether that's a mistake from Schizo or whether it's maybe Stinos just better tyre management a little bit at this phase of the race, although with the DRS, obviously it brings them all back together.
Yeah, definitely. I think maybe Schizo maybe made a small mistake somewhere, because he's right back on the back of Stinos now. Stinos does look to be struggling a little bit at times, but I think it's much the same for all the medium runners now. We'll get into that phase of the race where they're going to be sort of sliding around a little bit. So yeah, we'll be interested to see. And Got Spooked and Martin continuing their battle at the moment as Got Spooked gets back past him.
Yeah, a little bit close for comfort through turn 11, but once again that move starting off in turn 10 for Spooked. Back to the battle for third. Schizo up the chuff of Stinos. Joshua Bashford, that gap's kind of stabilised around 5.2, so he's not really gaining at the moment. As Schizo looking behind from Stinos, and Owen really hasn't tried as Bashford gets a 3-second penalty. Owen hasn't really looked to try any overtaking moves. He's just kind of like stayed at the back of the pack and is just kind of watching with a bucket of popcorn at the moment.
It's very similar to Ghost last week, isn't it? Actually, he was just as Got Spooked gets a 3-second penalty. Now they're all starting to rack up now a little bit of rest with a 5-second for speeding in the pit lane. So yeah, I'll raise your 3-second to a 5-second, I think, sir. But yeah, it's this is what Ghost did last week. He just stayed patient at the back with contact at the front, I think, there.
Yeah, I think Schizo just ran into the back of Stinos. Luckily, looks like there's no damage to Schizo, and Stinos stayed on track, so all is good and rosy for now. Down towards turn 10, and you kind of get the feeling Stinos felt the need to slightly defend turn 10 then. Took a slightly different line. Here comes MDJ round the outside of Schizo free. Through the Titans part, and they're still side by side. This is going to help Stinos beautifully as we head into turn 12. Oh, and that's a shame for Owen. We haven't caught that on the camera, but he has gone round. Luckily, it looks like he's got going again. That's a big shame because he was running really well. I can only assume maybe just too much curb from where it tightens.
Yeah, there was no contact. That was all a very solo effort from Owen. Unfortunately, who's now come in the pit. So. Yeah, okay, he's going to have lost a few seconds from that spinner, as you can see. He's probably lost a good sort of 7 or 8 seconds, but maybe hoping that if he comes in for an undercut, he can gain a few back, because Rock Lee's the next one to pick up 3 seconds. Conan also had a massive slide at the back, coming out of the long left at Titans. I'm not unsure of the turn number, but he's now dropped outside DRS, but may have just got himself back into it.
We're just coming up to the detection, which is just after the turn 6 here. That white line, and he is within the second, so he still has his DRS available. But it all kicked off just through turn 10, and I think it was literally because Stinos just took a slightly tighter line into 10, almost like he was slightly defending the corner. And it just meant that Schizo couldn't quite take the corners as fast as he'd like, and MDJ had a lovely run into turn 11 as Spooked gets back past Martin. These two having a phenomenal battle for 8th place. Owen has gone on to the soft compound tyre, which, to be honest, kind of makes sense if he's managed to do 13, 14-ish on the medium. The softs, again, they won't be very nice at the end, but they should be able to go to the end of the race.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think as Emia comes in the pit style, I think that's probably what you're about to say there.
No, I was actually going to look at Rock Lee and Ashton, because Rock Lee got past Ashton, but yeah, Conan now in the pits as well. So we're starting to see the stoppers come in, and Reshka picks up another 3 seconds time penalty. He's going for the record, I think. Where does Emir come out?
Sort of Conan to the hard tyres, so very, very differing strategies here. Yeah, very surprising. Obviously, as you say, Owen's now on the softs and going around at a fair rate of knots now. Emir coming out 4 seconds behind Joshua, so he's got a bit of clean air now to stretch these soft tyres and potentially undercut Merck by a second or two, depending on when Merck comes in. Obviously, MDJ now looking at Stinos.
Yeah, MDJ passed the Ferrari down towards the chicane. Obviously, hard tyres versus medium tyres. Those hards will be in a better state at the moment. I mean, when is MDJ going to come in? I mean, you think about if they'd done... MDJ went medium. No, he didn't. He went soft for the sprint. So he knows you can do 9 laps on the soft compound tyre with relative ease. So you're probably looking at what, maybe lap 18, 19 area for MDJ to come in to make this strategy kind of work with the fresher tyres in the end, as Merck picks up a 3 second time penalty.
Yeah, that evens things out at the front now between Emir and Merck. But yeah, as you say, with
MDJ's in.
MDJ as he comes in the pits.
I think he
So
just got a
is he gonna
tap as well
switch
from Stinos into the pit. I don't know if Stinos picked up any damage from that.
So yeah, they're all following each other in the pits, which is strategically negates it completely and neutralises any chance of an undercut, I suppose. But yeah, MBJ, he's going to soft, so he's going to try and do a fair amount of laps on softs. But then we think that the others can do it, so why not MBJ?
And look at the undercut that Emir has pulled. It's only a 1 lap undercut, but look at the difference. He's now 3.5 seconds up on Merckx.
Yeah, it is strong round here, and Merckx is bringing the gap down to Joshua, but obviously that's only to Joshua, not Emir. So the gap is still around that 3.7 mark. So yeah, that's pretty substantial. That, and obviously with Merck's 3-second penalty, that that could be a race-winning decision there from Emir.
Something to note as well, Stinos has come out behind Schizofree. So Schizofree's managed to do Stinos in the pits, and obviously Stinos has also come out behind Conan, who is on the hard tyres instead of the softs. So I don't know whether potentially maybe an okay turn in from Stinos there, because obviously with the timing of the button, as Martin gets back past Spook as they continue their battle, they're still side by side going down towards turn 10 once again. Spook's his favourite overtaking spot of the day, and it looks like he's going to make another move on Martin through there. They're going to still be side by side. Joshua Bashford into the pits through turn 11. Good room given from both drivers, and it's all good, nice and clean. And Martin just about going to hang on as we go into turn 12.
Yeah, good little fight between these guys. I think I wouldn't be surprised if this lasts now to the rest of the race. Again, though, Martin feeling the need to go to the hard tyres, and Spook's on the soft. So yeah, massively different strategies. MDJ obviously comfortable in third now ahead of Schizo, and Case now really, Conan on the hard tyres. What can he do from here? He's obviously in the early stages of the soft runners going to struggle on pace, but he's sticking to the back of Schizo all right here at the moment.
Yeah, it's again, he's in that DRS. I mean, MDJ's done a really nice job here, 2 seconds ahead of Schizo. He's in a nice position here. But I was saying before, he was Stinos. I wonder if he was slightly later on the button press to get into his pit box, because as we know, that does affect the times in the pits. I mean, it's only by like maybe 2 or 3 tenths, but the way they came into the pits, that's enough to lose you a position.
Yeah, absolutely. For the 600th time, Spook gets past Martin. So Joshua Bashford is not too far up the road ahead of them. Rockley either. So you could see a 4-car battle that could turn from the Got Spook to Martin show to 4 of them getting involved soon. As you say, just the small things do matter, and especially when everyone is quite close in the pit box, which I think they all were. I think they were almost one after each other, weren't they, in the pit? So it is quite important to get it right, and it's worked out well for Schizofree.
Merckx showing his pace, picking up fastest lap so far. Unfortunately, he can't rely on just staying within 3 seconds of Emir anymore. He has to get in front of Emir on track to win this race. Joshua Bashford looking at the back of Rockley. 6-lap-old mediums for now 7-lap-old mediums for Rockley. 1-lap-old soft tyres for Joshua. As they go through turns 1 and 2, and look at the grip difference those softs have. Down towards turn 3, it should be a pretty normal move from Bashford. It is, and into 8th place for him, 6.6 away from Owen. Where the top 8, top 7 all kind of spread out. Technically top 8 all spread out. They just have this little battle at the moment. Rock Lee, I think, is about to get overtaken by Spook because he's not in DRS either.
Yeah, struggling to get the power down relative to the soft runners, as you'd expect, and a bit of a slide out of 5 into 6, and that just gave Spook a good run out of that corner. As I say, the guys now on the harder compounds compared to the softs, it's all about patience really, and sticking out for as long as they can. Those softs are going to go off towards the end quite substantially, I think. So Yeah, it's patience, but as we know, sometimes when you're racing, patience can be very difficult to stick to. So yeah, we'll be interested to see how this pans out. But yeah, big gaps at the moment, and really, yeah, like there's just a small battle down towards the back end between sort of 8th, 9th, 10th, and 11th. That's all nice and close at the moment.
Yeah, and just a recap on penalties currently. Emir Djurkovic has 3 seconds, as does Mert. Schizo3, 3 seconds. Stinos, 3 seconds. Bashford, 3 seconds. Got Spooked, 6 seconds. Rock Lee, 3 seconds. Reshka currently has 8. Ash Tuber with 3. So that's the list of your penalties. And currently that's going to put Schizo3 down a place. Stinos just on the verge of losing a place to Owen at the moment, courtesy of penalties, and then 8th, 9th, 10th, and 11th will kind of be decided by that if they continue to stay where they are.
Yeah, definitely. It's as we said before the race, the track limit penalties are massively important around here. Could change a few things. At one point it was looking it could decide the winner of this race, but as Ashtube gets the latest to get one, almost right on cue there. But yeah, obviously Merck was looking in an excellent position with Emir having that 3 seconds, but with Merck picking his up, it sort of handing it back to Emir. So yeah, it can be race deciding definitely, and as you say, it's going to mix the positions up towards the end of this race now.
Yeah, I guess another example of that was on Monday. For our race, I mean, I think I went up 3 places courtesy of penalties in front. Ended up getting a podium for myself in the Tier 4 race on Monday. So that kind of proves the significance of this. And to be honest, it's not just France that it happens at. It's every circuit we have. As Ashtube and Reshka are battling it out for 12th place. Reshka just about staying ahead. Ashtube does a switchback. That's a lovely move from the Red Bull. Through turn 12. They're still fighting. 3:14. Reshka on the outside. Down the inside for turn 15. And once again, Ashtube puts in a beautiful switchback. And he may get DRS. No, it's Reshka who's got DRS. He's going to have a run up towards turn 1. This is a fantastic little fight, and it's not even for any points as Reshka gets back ahead for turn number 1. I'm expecting Ashtube to have some good grip out of 2 to lead potentially into a move down towards 3. There he goes, right on cue, but backs out of it, going down into 3. Yeah, no points on offer here, but some fantastic fighting.
Yeah, we like good battles all the way down the pack, and this one's going to resume down the Mistral straight. Spooked just got past Joshua Bashford again, but Spooked also, while we were on this, picked up another 3 seconds. I think he's on 9 seconds worth of penalties now, I believe, as Ashtube just drives past Rashka down the straight. So yeah, fantastic battle considering the difference in tyre compounds.
Yeah, I mean, and the fact there's no points on the line here, this is just purely for position 12. It's good to see that people are still fighting for their positions. And Joshua Bashford, I don't know if his DRS was open then down the main straight. Is that potentially a tactic to make sure that he gets through turn 1 and 2 safely while still keeping the gap? Because obviously he's still got the draft down there. Is by maybe not using DRS. As we have a yellow flag. That's Owen. Owen has had a mistake through turn 4.
Yeah, so it promotes Scott Spook to Joshua Bashford at 1 place each. Obviously, until penalties are taken into account. But yeah, big shape for Owen. He was in that battle for that 3rd place. As Josh was looking at Got Spook now into the chicane.
To the outside, bit of contact. I think both around. And Owen says, thank you very much. Here comes Martin and Rockley. They're going to take places as well. Martin up to 8th. Now, Martin has no penalties either to him. Bashford gets going, as does Got Spooked. It kind of looked a little bit like just unfortunate racing. One car slightly understeering, the other one going around the outside, and it was a very unfortunate collision.
Yeah, it was very much wheel-to-wheel contact, and it just, the first car went into the car on the inside went into a lazy spin, and it then just caught the car on the outside as well. So, yeah, very unfortunate. It was hard to apportion blame really because they were both going at it. So yeah, it'd be a difficult one to work that one out. But yeah, big shame because they were racing brilliantly there together, and that's just dropped them right down now to the tail end of the points.
Absolutely, and I think Joshua Basher does have a chance here to get back into the points. I'd say back into the points, just a little bit further up, because, like I say, Rockley does have a penalty. I think 3 seconds for him, so that's an on-track battle for him to sink his teeth in. I say that as Bashford now picks up another 3 seconds. So now he's got to be 3 seconds ahead of Rockley if he wants to get 9th place out of him. But you get the sense Rockley is going to eye up a move here on Martin. Just the 4.5 tenths. DRS open, not really catching as much as I thought he would, although I say that, he gets into the slipstream. Side by side, and Martin, kind of smart that from Martin, kind of just lets him go for now, and he kind of knows he's going to get the jump afterwards. As I say that, as Martin now looking to the inside of turn 10, this is Spook's favourite overtaking spot, thinks better of it, but Martin driving this sensibly, knowing that he's going to have the tyre advantage near the end of this race.
Yeah, absolutely, 100%, and also aware of the penalties that Rockley has as well, so he doesn't really have to force the issue. Obviously, he'll be concerned with Joshua catching up, that he doesn't really want to be having to look in his mirrors as well. But as you say, with the penalties, there's a slight wobble there through the left, but with the penalties, Martin doesn't really need to fight. He's a few seconds down the road from Owen, unlikely to catch that anytime soon, I think. So he is really in this fight for 8th place, to be honest, and at the moment it is kind of his. The gap, Verks is catching Emmy at a fair rate of knots. The gap's just gone from 3 seconds or so down to 2. So
I was about to say that. I wonder if Emir just had maybe a small mistake, maybe just a twitch that sent him off road. Because between those two, that will cost you a half second if you have a bit of a moment. So we'll have to keep an eye on that. I mean, the gap has now stabilised around 2 seconds again, so it'll be interesting to see what happens with that gap. But we're going to keep focus on this battle for 8th, because Martin not using DRS down that back straight then. Was it me, or was it?
Also seemed to be a lot of lift and coast there for Martin into that chicane, so maybe he's running tight on fuel a little bit, because that was a big lift before he got to the chicane. So yeah, this could be a bit of fuel saving. Even through there, it seems like quite a lot of lifting. But I mean, that's what it seems like to me anyway. I don't know whether it's just a game audio thing, but it did seem more so than other cars that I've seen going into these corners.
Yeah, well, I'm on board in Martin, so we'll see what he's doing. He gets out of the final corner, DRS open. Bashford behind. Yeah, he's definitely lifting before that braking zone, isn't he? I think you're right on his fuel. I was just trying to look at his steering wheel to kind of see what... Because there is a number that displays it, and I think you are right that he is making... So...
I think if he could just stop turning the wheel for a little bit, I think that would help, but may not help his race, unfortunately. It would help us, but not him.
To the inside then, Rockley down the Mistral straight and into the chicane. Goes Martin up into 8th place. They're only 2.3 away, 2.2 away from Owen here. This leapfrogging them is slowly catching them up to Owen, probably a little bit quicker than we were expecting.
Yeah, also don't forget now the soft tyres of Owen on 10 laps. They're going to start to lose pace a bit here. Obviously, we're 2 or 3 laps to go. We got 3 laps to go. So, yeah, the last few laps could be difficult for Owen. It looks like he is struggling a bit for grip there, a bit of a slide through the tightening left-hander. So, it's not easy on those softs anymore, I think.
I think Martin just took half a second out of him through turns 11 and 12 alone. So this could get very interesting if Owen ends up in this battle. I think bit of time to Martin as well, as he's now going to be under attack from Bashford. Further back, he got spooked, 4.6 behind. Obviously, these guys fighting, helping him. It looks like that gap at the front has stabilised, though. We're at 1.9 seconds, so we have a spinner that looks like got spooked. I think it is. He got spooked through turn 2 on the curb, and round he goes. But back onto the Mistral Straight. Martin now 1.3 behind Owen, half a second ahead of Rock Lee. And you get the feeling if Martin can get into the DRS of Owen, which you have to feel might be next lap, that could curtail any potential for Rock Lee to get back past this Haas. You feel he's going to have to do it on this lap if he wants to really have a fight with Martin.
Yeah, absolutely. Also, Ghost coming in the pits to try and set fastest lap by the looks of it. If he does set fast lap, he won't get any points because he's outside the top 10. But yeah, this battle for something, and the issue now really as well for Owen and Martin is obviously, the guys behind are going to want to get past, but they've got penalties. So how hard do Martin and Owen fight this? Do they try and fight it to stay ahead on track anyway? Or do they just let them go and say, well, okay, I'm going to be back past them once this race finishes anyway? So this could be very tricky. I think, normally if it was just Owen with Rockley and Josh behind, he'd probably just let them pass. But because he's got Martin behind him, I don't think he can afford to do anything like that.
No, and the other thing is, and it's something that I picked up on with Ghost earlier on this season. Ghost fought someone very hard who had a 3-second penalty because of the off chance that they go to the stewards and have one of their warnings removed, which could lead to the penalty being removed. So that's the other thing to look at as well. Is do you think they're going to have a rightful try at getting something removed with the stewards if Spook gets another 3 seconds? Because if that is the case, and mine to the outside, here comes Rock Lee to the inside. Rock Lee, he's going to get both of them, I think, into the chicane. Yes, he does. Good move from the Alfa Romeo. Not at all what Owen needs right now on those crying soft tyres. But yeah, that is the other way of looking at things, which is the way Ghost was earlier this season.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Yeah, you can't be too careful, I guess, as Amir just now starts his final lap of the race, a comfortable 2-second gap to Merck, so I think he's going to be okay unless he makes a mistake. MDJ comfortable in third as well, so it's looking like a top 3 barring any major disasters at the moment.
Still with this battle for what is now 7th. Rock Lee in front of the Haas of Martin. And Owen, you can just tell he's got very little traction coming out of the hairpin as Martin to the inside up towards turn number 1. We'll have that as a regulation move. Through 1 and 2.
Yeah, big understeer for Owen there through turn 2, and now Joshua's all over his rear end. Couldn't quite get the move there done, Josh. But yeah, Owen is struggling with mid-corner understeer at the moment. So
you kind of feel with Joshua, Owen doesn't have to fight Joshua too much because Joshua's got 6 seconds, as Owen goes really wide through 6. You kind of feel that you don't really need to. It's very rare that you get 6 seconds worth of penalties removed. That would have to be 4 warnings worth. So you kind of feel that maybe Owen didn't really have to fight him too much. Martin picks up 3 seconds.
So it's a straight fight now between Martin and Rock Lee for 7th place. But I think Emir has
crossed the line for the victory of the French Grand Prix, followed by Merckx. MDJ Ghost picks up fastest lap. That's going to be annoying for the, I believe it was Merckx who held it before. That's a point taken away from the Astons. I think Ghost will be very pleased with himself there. MDJ, a great race from him to finish in 3rd. Schizo Free will finish in 4th. Conan, I think, will get 4th. On penalties for now. So Conan 4th, Schizo 5th. Stinos will be in 6th place. Meanwhile, this fight on track, Martin just about ahead. I think Owen's just got back past Joshua Bashford. They're having a right old ding-dong coming to the end of the race. Joshua, not quite sure why he's in Ghost. Oh, has he run out of fuel? I think he's run out of fuel, has Joshua Bashford, and that's why he's so slow. Owen picks up 9th, Joshua 10th in the end, got spooked 11th. Ashtube will pick up 12th with Reshka in 13th, goes to 14th, already crossed the line. But I'm assuming that Joshua Bashford was on low fuel mode.
Yeah, he did come across the line very consistent revs and consistent with that. So yeah, a bit of a shame for Joshua at the end. I think he'd have been behind Owen anyway after the penalty, so it didn't really make too much of a difference to the race. But yeah, excellent little battle at the end there. As Joshua gets driver of the day at the end there. I believe Rockley did try to throw it up the inside at the final corner in the move we were chatting about earlier, but realised it was a bit too late and got out of it and narrowly avoided contact. But yeah, excellent racing then from the guys in the midfield.
So and there is your podium. Merckx second, Emir first, and MDJ, the non-green outfits on the podium for the French Grand Prix. Aston Martin incredibly happy and deservedly so. But yeah, who's going to stop this Aston Martin pair? Who knows? But Bruce, would you like to take us through the results of the French Grand Prix?
Absolutely, yeah. So the main race, Emir Djokovic carrying on his fine run of form there, taking the win from teammate Merckx. MDJ, an excellent recovery to third after his issue in the sprint with Conan, a fantastic fourth on a very, very alternate strategy to everyone else. Schizo3 fifth with Stinos in sixth, Martin and Rockley 7th and 8th after a fantastic battle. Owen, disappointing for him, in 9th after showing great pace early on, with Joshua 10th, got swooped 11th, Ashtube 12th, Reska 13th, and Ghost taking fastest lap but no points in 14th. Cameron Searle and Fabay the non-finishers.
Brilliant stuff. I'm going to see if I can add MDJ into this party. Hopefully you'll be able to get him in. But an interesting French Grand Prix comes to an end for Tier 1. MDJ has joined us, which is fantastic news. We will come to him very shortly, obviously. I'm sure MDJ, he knows the deal, obviously making sure all of his settings are correct for the party. And we'll also ask Emir and Merckx for a small write-up. But MDJ, welcome to the comms box for the first time this season. Congratulations, third place. It's probably quite nice to get this podium after the string of luck you've kind of had in Tier 1.
Yeah, indeed. My luck in Tier 1 has not been that great, just like in RP and tomorrow. But I mean, it had to happen someday, right? So
it's always good when you kind of not actually end your bad luck, because who knows what might happen in the future, but at least have a slight break from it. I mean, it looked like it was going to continue in the sprint race with a small collision with Stinos, which kind of sent you round. It looks very, very close racing and like possibly a minor misjudgment, but we can't really say too much here.
I mean, yeah, it was a minor touch. Could have been just millimeters from the. If he moved just millimeters, I think the contact could have been avoided, but it didn't. So it happened, and it cannot be changed. We will probably talk about it, but nothing more will be happening.
So I don't know if Bruce is still there, whether he wants to ask a question he asks. I'm sure the one I'm going to ask next, he probably will want to ask as well. So if you're still there, Bruce, any questions for MDJ?
Yeah, I was chatting during the stream there, during the comms, that the hard tyre at the start of the race. We've seen other people do it this week. It's not really worked out for them. Did you feel that with the hard tyre, as long as you could sort of stick with the pack for the majority of the first half of that race, that it would come good, towards the end of the race for you, which apparently it did?
I mean, I've had loads of races now where I start with the hards, and I know that I can keep with the pack with the medium runners, with the soft runners, and if I stick with them, I will have the better pace at the end of the race, since the softer tires are not a great racing tire, I would say. If you want, I mean, a great start tire. I mean, uh, the softer tire you should think about at the end, where the car is lighter and has less problem with getting through the corner. So you have to use the hards on the beginning to get a better race at the end, and that's exactly what I did.
Yeah, absolutely, and I was absolutely right with the question that Bruce just asked. Obviously, being the sole interviewee in here, you get a bit of extra airtime. The battle with Stinos Schizo 3 at the start, I mean, what a fantastic battle to watch, really. I mean, 4 or 5 guys going at it almost lap after lap with the DRS as well. I mean, you made a double overtake into the chicane. I mean, what was it like just being in that battle to begin with?
Well, it I tried to stay behind one of the guys, not making any moves, but also not getting overtaken to save some ERS. But I also realized that I had to get past and drive away, since they were quite holding me and probably the guys behind me as well up. So uh, I tried, but I kept failing because of the DRS train until pretty much on the lap we were pitting. That's where I overtook Stinnes as well, and 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 from there I just happened to get my luck to when we got to the pits.
Brilliant. Well, congratulations for tonight, mate. We'll obviously see you in Abu Dhabi next week for Tier, and obviously good luck for tomorrow in the RP League, which we'll talk about very shortly. But yeah, congratulations for third place, mate. It's a fantastic by you.
Yes, thank you.
We do have a couple of write-ups. Emir Jurakovic, congratulations to him. Obviously, another victory under his belt for the season. Seeing a good pace today. Pitting on lap 14 gave him the edge. Otherwise, nothing really happened with him. He apparently doesn't like France and hopes that he never has to race on it again. And I suspect for that we'll put in for a ballot to have it next season for you. No problem at all. Mercked saying both races went as expected. P2 was the best he could do as Emir was too quick like usual. Saying congrats to Emir. And it's another Aston Martin 1-2, which it certainly was. And Bruce, I mean, obviously apart from the top two kind of running away, racing at France, you couldn't really ask for a better race, could you?
No, no, definitely. It's we said before there's that risk around here of getting the pockets and groups of cars separating, and we did have that, but each individual group definitely gave us some great racing. So yeah, even though the field had sort of a slight spread in it, there was always something to keep us going there, which is great to see.
Absolutely, and it wasn't just battles to the points as we saw Reshka and Ashtube. I mean, a lot of people down the bottom end don't get much coverage, and obviously we know the Aston Martins don't get a lot because they're kind of off doing their own thing. It's normally in that sort of mid pack, but it's good to be able to go to the places of like 12th, 13th, 14th and be able to see these battles still going on. Obviously, the drivers still get a bit of airtime themselves for the battle, but we also get to talk about other drivers during that race. We get to almost get to go through the whole field.
Yeah, definitely, and even as you say, even though it's not for points, it's still for pride, isn't it? And we all know that once we all sort of get into that racing sort of frame of mind. It doesn't matter whether it's for first place or 101st place, you still want to overtake the guy in front. So, yeah, no, it's great to see the battles all the way down. And, nice to see that, even if the guys aren't fighting at the front, they're still able to fight with some of the other people around them.
Absolutely. Enjoyable racing is what we're all here for, and battling people makes racing enjoyable. I think we can all agree on that one. But unfortunately, that is all the time we have for Tier 1 tonight here at France. Obviously, stay tuned this week, because tomorrow we do have the RP League, brought to you by Jack TM53 Synopsis and potentially myself. Tomorrow from France, it's going to be another great Grand Prix. So 8 p.m. tomorrow, make sure you're there. And obviously, next week, we do go to round number 9 or 8, round number 8 at the Abu Dhabi Grand Prix. On Monday, you'll have tiers 3 and 4 brought to you by JP911 and Official Xerox. Again, 8 p.m. on Monday. Tier 2 on Tuesday, brought to you by Joe Hamster, same time. And we are back next Wednesday for Tier 1 at Abu Dhabi for some more fantastic racing like we've had tonight. So do make sure, if you've enjoyed this stream, make sure you give it a like. Subscribe to the Invictus Racing League channel so you don't miss a race, because why would you want to miss a race is beyond me. But it's always good, and obviously very easy then to go back and be able to look at previous races. But along with that, we'd also like to thank the partners we have of Gridfinder.com and Venturi Studios. But for myself and Bruce, thank you all for watching tonight. I hope you have a good evening.